You can make a nice living with a very small audience if you
Sure you can.
are providing high value coaching and
Mhm.
charging a premium price for it. You could have just a handful of coaching clients and make a great living.
Hi, welcome to Over 50 TV. My name is Lou Reyes, and today I have a special guest with us. Today I have Pamela Wilson. Pamela is an online coach. She is somebody who works with people who are in mid-career, and I want to introduce you today to Pamela Wilson. Hi, Pamela.
Thank you so much for having me here, Lou. It is an honor to speak to your audience. I'm really excited about this conversation. We've got a lot of great topics to cover.
Well, you know what we definitely do, and the thing that I'm glad, and I want to let the audience know this, is that you and I met because of YouTube. You have a YouTube channel. It's Pamela Wilson, and you can go to our audience to go right to your site. Just tell them a little bit, would you, about what you do on your YouTube channel?
What I try to do on YouTube is to present ideas that help people to build online businesses faster, but people who are in mid-career, midlife, right? I have found that there are particular challenges that people in our age group have, and I try to create content that helps them with those challenges. And I always try to keep it kind of fast moving and fun, and full of really good tips and information. I'm having a blast doing YouTube videos. I've done written content for more than a decade. I've written books, I've done speeches and podcasts, like all of those different kinds of content. But I am having so much fun creating content on YouTube.
Well, you know what, you're doing a really good job, because when I was watching your videos, it wasn't one of those things where I could just watch one. I had to binge watch Pamela's videos. It was really kind of
I'm
funny.
very happy to hear that. That is exactly what I'm going for. So great.
No, it was actually, your videos are great. And one of the videos that really stood out to me, it was and I wrote this down, 4 profitable online business ideas. And I watched that video, and actually I got to be honest with you, that's why I wanted to get you on, was hoping to get you on this Zoom call today to talk to our audience about some of those ideas, or about those 4 ideas. And can you just start and maybe just tell us what those ideas are and how you believe they can help our audience?
Yeah. So these are ideas for business offers that you can create online.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did in that presentation is I kind of presented them in order of least complex and easiest to put together to most complex. They're all doable, but the first one is something you could start tomorrow, and the last one is one that takes a little more time and energy.
Yeah,
So the first one is coaching. And the second one is services, and we can dig deep into each of these. The
sure.
third one is courses, which is a bit more to coordinate. And then the fourth one is a membership site.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about all of them, but all of those offer types work really well for people who are in midlife or mid-career, and people who've developed a lot of professional expertise, and they want to take that expertise and put it online and reach their prospects and their customers in the online space.
I love the idea how you started out with the least complicated and you went to the most complicated. But let's talk about why you picked these particular areas. And maybe we just start with number 1, with coaching.
Yeah. What I love about coaching is, especially if you are in midlife or mid-career and you've developed some expertise,
Mm-hmm.
coaching is a really simple online offer to put together, because you literally need Zoom or any kind of platform where you can meet with someone. People used to do coaching on the phone. Most of it happens on video nowadays. So a basic Zoom account would work great. And you need a place to capture some kind of recording, because typically you capture a recording and give that to the person that you're coaching. And
Sure.
then you need a place for them to pay you and
Mm-hmm.
schedule and put their information on your calendar. And that can be done with emails back and forth. It's very, very simple. I mean, you can make it more complex, but it's very simple. And you literally can start offering coaching tomorrow.
Yeah, I like the idea of coaching quite a bit, but let me ask you though, if someone wants to start, if a person would like to start a coaching, an online coaching business, how do they get their customers?
Yeah, the first place to get customers is, if you're really, really starting, it's to talk to the people that you know IRL, in real life, right? It's
Correct.
telling your colleagues, people in your personal network that you're going to start coaching. And, it's funny, we're talking about online business, and obviously there are all these online ways that you can meet customers and get your word out to people. But
Sure.
I think oftentimes people forget that you also just need to use what you have right now, which is your personal network. So I would start there. I would start by letting people know just with an email what you're working on, what you're doing, give them a phone call and, let them know, bring them up to date. And even if it's not something they would want, you can just tell them what you're doing so that they can pass along the information to somebody else who might need your kind of coaching. Then you want to use, like if you're on LinkedIn, you want to put it on LinkedIn that this is
Sure.
something you've started to do. So like people forget to put it in the obvious places first, and they start thinking like, oh, I have to start running Facebook ads or something. And I mean, you can down the line, but you got to make sure you knock out the super obvious stuff first, which is reaching out to the people you already have in your network and letting them know. I
Yeah.
would start there. And then, I mean, we can get into this, but obviously for an online business, it's really
Mm.
great to have some kind of website presence. And
Sure.
you can put together a page on that website that offers your coaching as well.
Can you give me one more thing on the online coaching? Can you give us a couple examples of types of businesses or types of coaching that is being done or that you recommend, maybe something that's popular?
The thing that's great about coaching is once you get to be in our age group, you
Mhm.
you kind of know your stuff, right? Like you've been
Yeah,
doing it for a while, and you can turn around and help people who are less experienced coming up behind you, right?
mhm.
So that means that really you can coach pretty broadly on a wide variety of topics. I have helped people who coached people how to organize their homes. I've helped people who coached women in midlife to lose weight by reducing
Great,
emotional eating, for
great.
example.
Mhm.
I've coached people who are business coaches for Fortune 500 companies, for example. So there's a lot that you can do if you just think about, if you and I have been walking on a path in our careers, and we think about turning around and looking behind us at the people who are coming up and are like 10 steps behind us,
Sure.
that's who you can coach.
Okay, so let's talk about the number two online gig, which would be you have as online services. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
This is another one that's pretty easy to put together. So, online services are anything that you can offer via an online website. So, it could be you might be a web developer, you might be a copywriter, an
Hmm.
editor, a graphic designer, any of those things that are basically a service that you're going to sell people your time or your results. You can offer that as, and you can put it together as an online offer. And you basically need a page that explains what you do,
Sure.
pricing for that service that you're offering, a way to pay for it.
Hmm.
And, you need to communicate with people by email to let them know what they're getting and to exchange information and deliver the service. So it's pretty simple to put together.
Would you recommend somebody who has an online service, let's say graphic design? They just go on like a platform like Upwork. Do you recommend that?
You can totally offer these things on other people's platforms.
Hmm.
What I teach people to do is to develop their own platform and their own website where they offer that. So there's nothing wrong with offering your service on Upwork and, acquiring clients that way. But
Yeah.
I would love to see people develop an online presence that they completely control
Hmm.
and own, and they can start kind of bringing clients into that environment that they own completely.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with you 100% on that. Ideally, even like with YouTube, you and I both have a YouTube channel. It's nice to start on YouTube to build an online presence, to build a following, and then try to take that and basically migrate it over to your own website, your own platform. And I really do see that with this online services and even the coaching. But let's get to the next one. Online courses is the number 3 on your list.
Right.
Can you talk about that?
And it's number 3 because it's a little more complex, because now you have to take this expertise that maybe you were delivering one-on-one in coaching, or maybe you were actually doing for people in your services. Now you have to turn it into a course. So you have to turn it into a step-by-step educational program. And so it's a little bit more complex, but it's doable. And when you start doing something like this, oftentimes you'll begin to use a learning management system. And that's going to be something like a Teachable or a Thinkific. You can organize the step-by-step of your educational program in that platform and then deliver it through that platform. That can be a great way to package up the expertise that you have worked so hard to acquire and put it into a package that people can purchase.
Let me ask you a question. Something that we haven't touched on yet is how do you price your course or some of the other services? I mean, it would be kind of an easy thing to price if I'm a graphic designer and I know what the going rate is for my experience and my skill level. On a course, how do you price that?
Yeah, I'll tell you what you don't do.
Okay.
I am on such a mission to stop people who are in mid-career the way we are, from falling for all of those online gurus who tell you need to create a $17 product. No. Not when you're in midlife. I mean, you really need to develop an offer that you put out for a premium price. You're not a beginner. You know your stuff. You need to package it and position it. I mean, you have a marketing background, so you understand that concept, but
sure.
The idea is you need to create an offer that is obviously a premium priced offer, and you need to be unafraid to choose to charge a premium for it. So don't create a $17 product or a $37 product. Don't take the entirety of your expertise that you've spent decades acquiring and pour it into something that you don't charge enough for. Can't, pricing is very much an it depends kind of a thing, but that is the one hard and fast rule, is that when you are in midlife, do not make it too inexpensive. Make sure you're charging what it's actually worth. And I have a tip for figuring that out. Do you want me to share that?
I'd love to have you share that with us.
Okay. So the one thing that I ask people to think about is the transformation that they are delivering and the value of that transformation. So it's not an equation really, but it's, you want to think about how you are helping someone to transform their life or their challenges or their current situation and put a value on that. What I find is that people who put together, for example, courses, they say, like, they'll come to me and say, so Pamela, I have a course. It's got 6 video lessons and 12 worksheets, and it's got 3 audios. What should I charge for it? And I'm like, that is the wrong way to ask that question, because you're not charging for the content that you're delivering. You're charging for the transformation that you're helping people to experience. And that's what you need to base your price on.
Pamela, I think those are some of the wisest words I've heard. I just interviewed Joe Ney, who owns Ohio Wood Burner. It's a YouTube channel. I was out at Joe's shop. Yeah. And you know what? You talk to Joe and he echoes exactly what you're saying. Joe learned working for 2 large organizations. He learned about the value added, how to go for the more of a premium price. And yeah, he echoed exactly what you're saying. I think you're 100%. You hit the nail on the head. I'm so glad that we're talking today, because I think more often than not, people are afraid to charge what they should charge. I mean, you see that too, don't you?
I do. And what's hard about that is if you don't charge enough, then your business becomes like a volume-based business. So
Absolutely.
let's say
Yeah.
Right. Let's say you're charging, $97 for this super valuable course. Since we're talking about courses, you
Yeah.
create this super valuable course that gets people amazing results and you charge $97. Do you know how many of those you have to sell in order to make a good living? Way too
Yeah.
many. So
Yeah.
you need to figure out a way to position it so that the value is super clear to people,
Mhm.
and then you can charge a premium for it. It's really important when you're in mid-career. We are not beginners, and
Yeah.
we need to
Yeah.
make sure that we charge accordingly.
So listen, let's go on to the next one, the a successful online membership program. Can you talk about that now?
Yeah, so the thing about the online membership, the reason I have it last is that the way online memberships are typically put together,
Mhm.
you are delivering monthly content to your audience of members, right? And
Yes.
so, what is hard about that, and the reason that it's a more advanced approach to creating an online offer is you really have to feel comfortable creating content on a consistent basis like that because you're
Mhm.
kind of locked in. It's kind of like a job. You have these members, and oftentimes they're not paying that much every month, but the
Right.
collective payments from all your members come together and help you to make a nice living. But you have to feel comfortable producing that ongoing content. The other thing that happens with membership sites is something called churn. And
Yeah.
churn refers to the percentage of members that leave every month. I mean, we all leave memberships, we unsubscribe from things, and it's nothing
Certainly.
personal, but people move on and their interests change and they leave. And so every month, on top of creating the content, you have to be replacing the members who leave. So it's not that it can't be done, but it is kind of next level. You have to
Yeah.
be comfortable with all the other stuff so that you can run a membership site successfully.
But it kind of almost sounds like you're like, okay, it's number 4 on your list. Yes, it's more complicated, but is it something that you don't recommend that somebody do or that you do recommend they do? I don't know if there's a fine line there.
Yeah, I think the right person who is at the point that they bring those skills to the table can
Mhm.
definitely make a membership site work. I don't recommend someone start with that. And
Yeah.
I have seen that be kind of disastrous, honestly, because what's great about coaching and services, and the reason I started with those is that you can make a nice living with a very small audience if you
Sure you can.
are providing high value coaching and
Mhm.
charging a premium price for it. You could have just a handful of coaching clients and make a great living. And the same thing with services. If you position those services so that they're really valuable and you have a handful of well paying clients, you can make a great living. In order to make a membership site work, you really kind of do have to have a volume of people who are paying a monthly amount.
Yeah.
Membership sites, part of the appeal for the members is that they get access to all of this content and they're not paying that much every month. So you really have to have like a critical mass of people in order to
Mhm.
make a membership site work. So it's not that it can't work, but the circumstances have to be right. And I definitely would not start with it unless you just want a world of headaches.
What would you say of these 4? You the first and the second one are definitely, I mean, the coaching, the online services I love, the online courses I love. I really do like the online membership program. Is there anything that you can say to our audience that, okay, you really, if you're going to start a business, you have to have this?
Yeah, I think, honestly, it's funny. It's going to sound like a weird skill, Lou, but here we go. I think the most important thing that you can have when you're starting an online business in mid-career like we are
Yeah.
is focus. Because there
Mm.
is so much information online. It is like a fire hose of content. And you can go, it's like that squirrel meme, like squirrel, squirrel, squirrel. You can go from thing to thing, like, I got to learn how to do this. And now I have to learn how to do this. And I have to learn how to do this. And I think being able to really focus on what's most important right now, I actually teach a 4-stage approach to building an online business. And it helps people to get like the foundational stuff in place first
Sure.
and then build from there. And I think, the main reason I teach it that way is so that you can use your focus and really just get the most important things done first and don't get distracted by the fire hose of information that's coming at you all over the place.
Well, Pamela, I've got to say, I'm so happy that we got together, because I will tell you that I would recommend your program to any viewer who is watching this video, because I have seen what I've witnessed what you're doing and the people that you're helping. Can you give us how can people contact you if they want to contact you?
It's interesting because at the time that we're talking, this change hasn't happened, but I want to give the URL of my website, and
sure.
It's about to change. So this is not the current URL, but the best place to find me is PamelaWilson.com. And that will actually redirect to the site right now. So it's a working URL, PamelaWilson.com. And they can learn about that 4-stage process. I actually have a quiz that will help you to figure out what stage you're in, and it will help you to figure out, what to focus on. So I would recommend, it's called the Focus Finder, believe it or not.
I'm going to have to take your Focus Finder.
Yeah, look up that quiz on the site. That's a lot of fun. It just takes about 5 minutes, and it's pretty accurate at pinpointing what stage you're in. And I give you some advice for things to focus on.
Well, I do want to thank you for appearing on our show.
Thank you. It is such an honor to talk to you and talk to your audience. I really appreciate it. And I'm ready to do it again. So you just let me know when you want me back, and I would love to be here again.
I'll have you back. I promise you that. Thank you.
Take care.